My name is Becca.
And I am Todd.
We're from New York City.
Oh, I love New York. We have the best sports teams, the best nightclubs, the best restaurants. It's such an incredible place to live.
Even if I didn't have to live there for work, I don't think I could ever move.
Yeah, there are just so many things you can only get in New York you can't get anywhere else. You should really visit if you haven't been before.
There's this brony convention Todd goes to every year. Even if we moved, he'd have to go back every year. No way he could miss it. It's all he talks about for a month leading up to it. This is where Todd said we had to stay when we came to Vegas.
Yeah, we're in town for our wedding.
Mm-hmm. We actually ran into the owner of the hotel while we were checking in, and he overheard us saying we were getting married, so he upgraded us to a big suite, which was such a nice surprise.
And he was even more surprised when he asked if we wanted to be interviewed for your book. This is certainly turning out to be a memorable trip.
I would hope it'd already be memorable, what with our wedding and all.
Oh, of course. That was a poor choice of words on my part.
It's a convention for My Little Pony fans.
Yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds.
Lots of adults go. Actually, it's almost entirely adults who go. I think the TV show is super sweet, but I've only been with Todd once. They don't really like girls going. I think it kind of messes with the whole bro part of brony.
A Las Vegas wedding was her idea. I told her we could get married anywhere that she wanted.
Vegas seemed perfect. It's affordable, and it can double as a honeymoon.
Oh, plus it has casinos. She loves those.
Oh, and it has strip clubs. Todd loves those. He actually made a list of all the clubs he wants to see before we leave.
It was just a list of places. There's one club on the list, but it's places that I want to see from the outside.
Todd grew up in a very religious household, so he can be a little embarrassed about these things. It's okay, sweetie. I've seen your list. It's perfectly normal for a man to want to see naked ladies.
I wanted to get married in a church back home, but Becca wanted to do something original. Isn't that right, dear?
Yeah, we also couldn't afford a big wedding. Todd's work has been a little slow lately.
I'm an actor, and all actors have dry spells. Just part of the industry. Plus, Becca has a lot of debt. So we probably shouldn't be spending too much money right now.
Right now he's actually playing Elmo in Times Square. He takes his picture with tourists all day. He's so cute in the costume.
Yeah, I'm not Elmo.
Okay. Legally, he is a generic red creature, but we all know who he's supposed to be. I think street performer is more of an appropriate term. He's never done any sort of stage acting.
But I do have some exciting things lined up. Actually, I'm going to be in an upcoming film in New York.
It's a role in an unpaid student film, but it's a great start.
It's a very promising student film. It's going to be seen by a lot of people, and the exposure is worth more than the money, believe me.
It's a film about campus safety. They say that new students are going to see it for years to come. I just wish Todd had booked a speaking part. He has the talent.
Oh, well, thank you, dear. Thank you. Oh, I'm not a student. I just responded to an ad on the internet.
He actually dropped out of high school.
I wanted to focus on my career. Yeah, I was actually working for a cell phone company at the time, and it was a great job. I was making good money, and I wanted to move up, but they downsized, and a lot of us lost our jobs.
They laid off all the sign spinners at once, which was such a shame because Todd was so talented at it.
Oh,
we actually met when he was sign spinning on the corner at my apartment. He caught my eye right away. So I had just moved out of my parents' house into my parents' apartment building, and I didn't really know my way around the area. So I was running late for a meeting, and when I went outside, I saw Todd spinning his little arrow sign on the corner. So I went up to him and asked for directions, and instead of just telling me where to go, he spun his sign all impressively and pointed in the right direction.
Yeah.
That was like the cutest thing.
Oh, well, she came back after a meeting and she asked for my number, and we went on our first date the next day, and I knew she was the one after our first date.
Mm-hmm. I knew it after the third.
Oh, did you?
We streamed The Notebook at my place. All my past boyfriends had refused to watch it with me. Todd not only agreed, but he cried multiple times while watching it. I knew right then if he ever proposed to me, I'd have to say yes.
Oh, there were a lot of them. Am I right?
They were all so full of themselves. They were either rich or famous, or both rich and famous. The worst combination. That doesn't impress me.
They weren't as great as they sound, okay?
No, some were actually very cool. But I don't really talk to them anymore. Todd gets a little jealous when I do. But Todd hangs out with all of his ex-girlfriends, except Lily, of course. But, I'm not really worried about them. If he's not sleeping with me, he's definitely not sleeping with them, so.
Oh, Lily, she was just the worst. I wasted 6 months of my life dating her, and that is all that needs to be said.
She used to physically abuse Todd. I'm so proud of him for breaking up with her. Even more for talking about it.
It's not really what she makes it sound like. She doesn't know the whole picture.
I mean, Todd could have easily defended himself. But the thing about Todd is he would never hit a woman. Ever.
Well, no real man ever would.
Especially Lily. I mean, I don't think I could hit a 95-pound elderly woman either.
Yeah.
I used to date this famous singer. I'm not going to name drop because that's gauche, but you definitely know who he is.
A lot of women have been with musicians, and to be honest with you, we all know that musicians are not one-woman men.
It was actually pretty serious between us. I mean, he asked me to move in with him. I met his parents. It was kind of the real deal.
Oh, well, I guess he was a good one, but I feel bad for her because he broke up with her.
Actually, I never told Todd this, but I was still with the singer when I met him. I didn't break up with the singer until we became official. It's crazy to think, if I hadn't met Todd when I did, I totally could have been married to the wrong person right now.
So, you cheated on him with me?
That's why I never told you this. Todd's proposal was the most unique one I ever had.
How many people have proposed to you before me?
You were the fourth. I've told you this. Oh, the first guy was at the Eiffel Tower. Ugh, so cliche. Second guy did the whole, wedding ring at the bottom of a champagne flute at the 5-star restaurant on Valentine's Day. We've all seen it.
Yeah, these guys have no originality.
The third guy was the worst. He had the proposal up on the Jumbotron at a basketball game. Like, how was that supposed to impress me? He literally owned the basketball team. He could make it say anything he wanted. That sort of stuff, it doesn't go far with me.
Yeah, and I guess I'm just the lucky one. What's the next question?
Okay, so Todd was helping me lose weight at the time.
She asked me to help.
And, I'd asked this of other boyfriends before, and they always dismissed me. They were like, "Hun, you're perfect as you are." And I was like, I don't want you dismissing me. If something's important to me, I want my boyfriend to take it seriously,
Again,
too.
I was just trying to help. That's all I was.
Oh, he did more than that. He tracked my weight loss. He kept a log of everything I was eating. I mean, it was like having my own personal trainer at home.
Yeah, it was she laid out everything she wanted me to do. I just did what she asked me to.
And there was like this stubborn last few pounds I just could not seem to get off no matter what. So Todd told me he would marry me if I hit my target weight. And that was all the incentive I needed. I shed those last 3 pounds stat. I lost it so fast he didn't even have time to save up for the ring.
Yeah. Well, I thought I was going to have more time.
I literally just didn't eat for 4 days. It was all the motivation I needed. We just decided to skip the whole engagement ring thing and the wedding band thing. It's such an outdated concept. Plus, Todd thinks it's a waste of money.
Well, engagement rings are a scam. There's a great Adam Ruins Everything video about that, actually.
Yeah, plus I deal with a lot of high-profile clients at work, so if I had a ring, it would have to be huge, something that Todd couldn't afford, really. I know that sounds shallow, but, people really do judge you for the clarity and size of your diamonds, so it's best I just don't have one at all. Our firm represents a number of well-known clientele. I'm not really at liberty to name names, but there's a few athletes and politicians who you might have heard of.
You know, I was actually an athlete. I was the star player on my high school football team. And I would have gone pro. Everyone would know my name, but I had a knee injury, so.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at him. He would have totally made the NFL had it not been for the injury. I mean, once he kicked a 20-yard field goal in a high school game, like, that is extremely unheard of from what I understand. I almost went pro in gymnastics, but that didn't work out for me either. Todd's family is very religious, very devout.
Well, I'm not as devout as the rest of them.
Oh, no, you're just being modest. He's the only boyfriend I've ever had who insisted on keeping his virginity until we get married. I mean, how impressive is that?
Oh, it's not that big of a deal.
It's kind of a big deal. I've had to go over a year without it, so.
We've been together for 2 years, dear.
I checked someone off my list last year. We promised we wouldn't have to tell each other that. The baseball player.
Oh.
Yeah. You know that list every couple makes of people they're allowed to sleep with if they ever get the chance to without it being considered cheating?
Yeah, which isn't really fair because I don't sleep with anyone and she knows that. So.
Well, I've been trying to change that for the past 2 years.
I'm sorry, but I'm trying to get into heaven, so.
Really? Well, I've been trying to get him into heaven for the last 2 years with no luck.
Well, aren't you supposed to be only putting famous people on your list who you don't know?
Well, I didn't know him when I made the list. I just so happened to meet him a year later.
Oh, convenient.
Besides, Todd put my sister on his list.
That was meant as a compliment alone, okay? She knows that I would never sleep with anyone besides Becca.
Yeah, my sister did not take it as a compliment. She's still kind of mad about it. My little sister Rachel, she's so competitive. It's kind of annoying. So I was kind of a prodigy in middle school, so I skipped a grade. And then she skipped 2 grades. And then I graduated 5th in my class at Harvard. So she graduated 4th. It's like her only goal in life is to be just marginally better than me at everything she does.
The two of them have been at it since they were very young. Everything is a competition between them.
Yeah, competition, I rarely win. But luckily she did not go into the legal field. She took the easy route. Medicine. I'm kidding. No, if she had joined the family firm, I'm sure she would have been made partner 2 years before me. Despite being 2 years younger, but it's fine. Yeah, I took out a lot of student loans. I would have been more than happy going to an affordable law school, but Daddy insisted I go to Harvard if I wanted to work at the family firm. So I will probably be paying that off for years. I don't know why Todd puts up with me and all my baggage.
Don't.
Kennedy, Seymour, and Cartwright. Michael Kennedy's my father. Barbara Cartwright is my mother. It's not the biggest firm in New York, but we do all right. Seymour was an older man at the firm. He retired when I was very young. I didn't know him very well. My father doesn't really like Todd.
Oh, maybe at first, but I think we get along better now.
Todd really wants to impress my dad. That's actually part of the reason why we're having this budget wedding. I'm sure Daddy would have paid for a big wedding if I asked, but Todd wants to prove to him that we're self-sufficient.
And we are.
Mm-hmm. You know, my parents didn't get married until years after they'd already been legal partners. At that point, my mom had already a long list of clients, a really great reputation, so that's why she kept her own last name.
Yeah, plus they would have had to change the name of the law firm. I mean, they had to print new business cards, order new signs. It would have been a big hassle, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm keeping my last name. So if everything goes according to plan right before my dad retires, I will get made partner at the firm. That way there will still be a Kennedy in the name. Also, Becca Boner just doesn't really have a great ring to it for a lawyer.
It doesn't bother me. If she wants to keep her own last name to help her career, I'm in full support.
Todd's actually thinking about taking my last name. That way, if we ever adopt children, we won't have to explain why we have different last names.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Becca here loves the idea of adopting children.
Also, we can't really have children of our own because Todd's been sterile ever since his motorcycle accident.
Yeah. Oh, at least my accident was cool.
My parents own a small apartment building on the Upper East Side. They let me live there rent-free. I just pay for utilities. Todd's gonna move in with me once we're married. Apricot's gonna have to move out, but it's totally gonna be worth it. My puppy, her name's Apricot. Unfortunately, Todd is severely allergic to dogs, so she can't be living with us. But I'm sure it won't be hard to find someone who wants to adopt an adorable little teacup Pomeranian. I'll miss her, though. When I was very little, I trained under the famous Italian gymnastics coach, Sergio Endolini. My parents were convinced I was going to make it to the Olympics. I had the leotards and...
That's enough. Sergio Endolini isn't a real person, all right? We're not married. The only reason I said we were married is because I wanted to get a free room upgrade at the hotel.
As you can tell, he's a cheapskate.
Well, as you can tell, she is a hooker.
Okay, I'm not a hooker. I am a sex worker.
Oh, so I'm so
and
sorry.
we didn't even have sex because you were busy crying the whole time.
Not true, not true, not true.
No, it is kind of true. The only reason I'm still sitting next to this person is because I wanted to be paid for this book, so... And now, you've ruined it, so thank you.
I ruined it.
Yeah,
You're
did.
the one who made me look like a complete loser.
He kind of is.
You know what? I'm sorry for wasting your time. Goodbye.
Can I still get paid?
Well, that's surprising. I would have thought she'd be more emotionally invested in the Bellflower after running her magic act here for so long. I guess I must have misjudged her. That poor woman never catches a break, does she? I don't suppose it would be logical to leave a hotel to someone who's not going to be alive much longer than I am. Well, I did not see that coming. I mean, I only considered Sara because, well, she seemed like such a sweet, wholesome girl. I had no idea she was married to an older man who already had a wife. I don't know what to think about that. Well, that's disappointing. I guess there's no reason to consider them as potential heirs anymore. All four candidates have potential problems, but someone has to take over the hotel. I don't have any more potential heirs, and I've run out of time to keep searching. Now, you've spoken to all of them. Who do you recommend? Well, the only reason I was considering Sara was because she seemed so virtuous. But now that I know she's in a 3-person marriage with 2 older partners, I see no reason to choose her. You make a good point. I may disagree with one of her life choices, but I doubt I could find a more caring person with strong moral values anywhere. Did you know that she spends her Friday nights teaching the homeless how to read? I didn't know that illiteracy was an issue among the homeless, but she's actively doing something about it. She's the obvious choice. Would you like to tell her? You deserve to be the one who breaks the good news.
It's no problem at all. We really enjoyed talking to you.
Is there anything else we can do to help you with your book?
Is there anything we can do to help him? He has no family and no close friends? That's awful. We'll be here for him, right?
Well, I have to be to work on Tuesday. Why don't you stay here and keep him company, and I'll come back after work on Friday.
I'll stay too.
The animal shelter and the food bank can get by without me for a while, but someone has to teach my literacy group on Friday. Can you do it?
Oh, I can handle that. Why don't you two stay here, and I'll come back next weekend. The more people hear for him, the better.
All right. Thanks, Daddy.
Where is Mr. Davenport now? Can we see him?
What do you say we go try to cheer him up?
Absolutely. Okay, let's start with our first word. All right, can we sound it out?
K.
Mm-hmm.
Uh.
Yep.
T.
Okay, now let's try putting some letters together.